Huawei's not going off the entity list. Huawei is a household name now. It would be politically damaging for Biden to take Huawei off the entity list. But there's about 100 or more companies under Huawei that the average person on the street, the average China watcher, has never even heard about. And the people in charge of these restrictions at the Department of Commerce will have the ability to really pull this stuff back and take subsidiaries or affiliates off the list, to take secondary semiconductor companies like SMIC, which is a very important producer for Huawei, either put them on the list, restrict them more, restrict them less. So I think that they're going to have an ability to really craft out either a more hawkish or more dovish policy. But I think whereas Xinjiang and Taiwan will push them to be more hawkish, I think the ability to sort of play around on the bottom end in terms of tech restrictions, I think that's going to allow them to be more dovish. I think that's where their heart is of the people that are going to get that position. And just one more point on that. I get way too wonky on this stuff, but it's a very important point, I think. When you're talking about, I said the Huawei, things like that are a political theater. But when you talk about what happened with the Department of Commerce at the end of the Trump administration, you had something called the foreign product rule, which was sort of an amped up restriction, much tougher than the entity list. And this basically prohibits other companies from selling to Huawei or others that are on a U.S. list, if they have U.S. inputs, they have U.S. intellectual property in them, unless the Department of Commerce gives them a license. So this is potentially an extraordinarily tough measure. Now, if the Biden team wants, they can simply grant licenses out the back door. Even in the waning days of the Trump administration, Ross's Commerce Department, Wilbur Ross under Trump, his Commerce Department was granting certain licenses. So you have an ability, even though you've got this really tough policy potentially in place, to go very dovish or very hawkish or stay the course. This is something that not enough people are going to be watching because, again, it is very, very, very wonky. But I want to sort of lay this out right up front because this is what we should be watching. I think that the tech restrictions, we should be watching Taiwan, and we should be watching Xinjiang, those three particularly closely.